Hey, this is Jeff with the Orange Peel, and welcome back to another edition of Keepin' It Peel. Today we sit down with Graham Sharp of the Steep Canyon Rangers, and we talk about his solo debut release, as well as his upcoming show here at the Peel. Come on in.
Down in the basement of an empty house, the darkness is an easy pitch. Passing a torch, long burned out, hoping nobody flips the switch. Oh, cinders in my hands, cinders in my pockets, God help me, I remember the flame. Well, the warmth of the embers was gone, and I got it, but I got it just the same. It's just too far to go in the hand-me-down shoes. The generation
Graham, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. So good to be back.
Yes.
Back at the Peel.
Graham Sharp has joined us here at the Orange Peel, and we're very, very excited. That he's sitting down and talking with us today. So thank you for sitting down and talking with me.
Yeah, buddy.
And I'm just going to dive right in with some deep thoughts. With
Cool.
you, if
All
that's
right.
okay.
Hit me.
So obviously this has been a very difficult year. We already know how hard it's been for everyone. But I like to try to find the positive in all of this. So
Yeah.
what are some of the silver linings for you during this downtime from touring and normal hustle bustle
Yeah.
as a musician?
I mean, I think, strangely, there's been like silver linings, I think, personally, for me, just like being home with my family. You know, I've been touring for 20 years, pretty solid. And, you know, as long as my kids have been alive, as long as I've been married, I've never taken 2 months off, let alone 14 months off. So that's been really a huge positive, you know, and it's allowed everybody to kind of work into a new rhythm, and just, you know, it's been uncomfortable at times, but it's something that needed to happen. I'm so grateful for it. And like, you know, we talked about earlier, like I've managed to make music something that kind of involves my family, like with this new project of mine. You know, my wife is always just wonderful about encouraging me and giving me space, and she's really the one who encouraged me to make this record that I just put out. And then, you know, bringing my kids in to whether they're selling merch or we're running the cameras for the live stream or making videos. And you know, like I was saying, like music doesn't have to be something that means I'm going away or leaving or apart from them. Music can also be something that we can do together as a family. And that's been a huge boost for me. You know, it's always just so encouraging to look out and see, you know, whether it's my daughter, you know, dancing in the back of the room or whatever. Like, that's my favorite. So I'm gonna miss that, you know, when it's not there. So I'm just trying to treasure these things. And I think from the band perspective, it's been great to take a break and step back. You know, the few times we've gotten together and played music, like I can tell everybody's just listening a little more and like a little, you know, not really quite content to just go back to doing exactly what we were doing before, but really, you know, maybe bringing a different perspective, or just, you know, not tending to fall into the same patterns, for better or for worse. But, you know, I think that's good for the music to rethink it from time to time and feel it a little differently. So that's been great. And then just from my own musical perspective, you know, it's like I just needed to stay busy. So I was just writing for months and really working on, you know, different aspects of the music. So like it's thrown me in a lot of different situations, whether it's doing these solo shows or whether it's doing duo shows with different people, where it's learning their music and having to kind of assume a different role with my playing. So it's been great to just really force myself into, you know, out of my comfort zone a little bit, because the band thing really is a comfort zone, and it's great, and there's a lot of positives to that. But just having the chance to really see, you know, where maybe you can improve and how you can grow into other roles and stuff like that, and the confidence that comes with that, I think will translate when the band's back together, hopefully for everybody in really good ways.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like for instance, the night Woody and I played here at the Orange Peel, I was just like the banjo player, just played bluegrass banjo for like the bluegrass jam, in the house band on Thursday night. Came in here with Woody and did a duo show with him on Friday night. And then on Saturday, I went to South Carolina and played a solo show by myself, like singer-songwriter style. So, just kind of just seeing just how much range you got, That's kind of what this pandemic has been, for a lot of artists. It's like, all right, what you got, what can you do? Like, you can crawl in a hole and just wait for it to be over with. And I understand that, I get that. But for me, I've tried to be active with it,
That's great. That's great. I guess it's like you can check your bag of tools and see how you can expand your experience.
Yeah.
And bring that back to the band when
yeah.
you do. That's fantastic. Well, speaking of your record, Truer Picture,
yeah.
It's a 10-song full-length record. Did that come about during this process, during this time? Were you writing that prior, or how did the writing come for that?
Yeah, the album was 100%, product of being home and having this time. I hadn't really planned on ever making a solo record. We stayed busy enough with the band, and I didn't feel like I was like lacking a creative outlet, because I get that with the band. I write songs for the band, and that's what we record and stuff. So it wasn't anything that was lacking. It was just I had all these songs that I was writing, and they seemed really kind of the moment. And if I waited 10 months or 16 months or whatever to work them up and record them with the band and go through all that rigmarole, then I felt like maybe the moment would have passed on them a little bit. And just trying to seize those unique opportunities. Seth Kauffman, Floating Action, produced the record, and he's just like, yeah, he's such an underground strange legend. You go to these places and almost nobody in the crowd knows who he is, but like we were backstage at the Albino Skunk last weekend, and with like Dylan LeBlanc's band, and then like Tyler Ramsey and his band and different bands, like everybody's like, whoa, Floating Action, like it's blowing their mind, because he's got this great reputation. And I knew Seth from when he worked with Shannon Whitworth and her band, and always just admired, kind of his way of approaching the music, and kind of a very low-key way, but just super high groove, real great vibe and feel. So for me at the time, the idea of like rounding up 6 or 8 or 4 or 5 or whatever musicians and booking a studio time and all that just seemed like a little more than I could do. I had stuff going on at the house I was working on. I was really trying to spend time with the family. So with Seth, it was just like him and I for the most part, and we get together over at his house. Maybe we go ride mountain bikes up Katsuma, and then just go to his house. Still all grimy and grungy. And sit down and start working on these arrangements to these songs. And to his credit, he listens so closely, and he's just got such an innate ear for this stuff that, time after time we go in and we pull something up. He's like, "This is what I've been working on." I'd listen to it. I'm like, "Dude, you nailed it. It's great." Like, moving on, And so it was like one of the easiest musical projects I've ever been a part of. And part of it was like that it was streamlined. And I think part of it was just we just had this sort of simpatico sort of thing with what the songs needed, and really let the lyrics kind of sit toward the front. Didn't like try to overproduce anything or really overthink anything. Same thing with like we do like one vocal take and we look at each other and be like, yeah, all right, cool. So yeah, the record's something I never really thought I would do, but I can't imagine having not done it now. Like, it felt so good just to, there's a little seed of doubt in your head, when you've worked so closely with such a talented band like the Steep Canyon Rangers. There's so many great voices and ideas to take something and take it out of that context. Is this going to work? Is this something I can do? So I was thrilled, just in the end, I was just like, I like this, and that was enough for me.
In the photograph you took on our vacation at the lake, we looked invincible, two hearts that might never break. You and I together was the finest thing I'd seen. There's times I wish we'd stayed just like that picture on the screen. And it can be our secret happen in between. I only hope you still love what you see, a truer picture of me.
It seemed what you're describing is a very intimate process because you're really working with one individual on,
Yeah.
To get to those the songs, and that's obviously what seems to be in the lyrics. I mean, even the title track of True Picture is a reflection of your family and the time with them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I
Yeah.
mean, how was that process for you? That intimacy.
Well, I mean, you know, the songs on the record were written, you know, in this time we were all going through. I mean, you were at home, everything was disrupted, and yet there was all this chaos in the world, you know. So there were so many things that everybody was feeling, you know. One was like scared and isolated and lonely and unsure what the future was going to be, and also like indignant and feeling like we needed like a moral awakening or a little bit in our country. So I mean, there's all those factors, and then some of it's also like, you know, the comforts of home and how nice it was to actually be home, and that's in the record too. So yeah, I mean, it's a really personal record how it's written. You know, there's not like anything like bombastic on it, I don't think, or like, you know, like big like stadium type style productions. You know, it's all just kind of right here.
Seems very fitting for the time. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. And like even like down to the cover photo, you know, it was like I was like, one of my projects in this time was took a garage stall at our house and turned it into an apartment to rent out for Airbnb, because like that's what we needed to do, you know. Like it was like that was kind of my B game here, and I'm glad I've done it. You know, it's going great. But early on in the process, I was like jackhammering out a channel for the plumbing and the concrete slab in the floor, and I just took a picture, you know, as after I'd like, just exhausted in a corner, and I showed it to Seth the next time we were together, and he was like, "There's your album cover," and I was like, "There's the album cover." All right. So the whole thing was done like in this really like, let's don't overthink this thing too much, you know. It's just like, this is a product of where we are right now. Let's just kind of keep it there.
Well, speaking of the new record as well, I mean, you've begun to kind of get out there and play some of that material.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. And then coming up soon, you have a solo show at the Orange Peel on June 18th.
Yeah.
What can we expect from that show?
So, you know, it's billed as a solo show. I actually be having a fiddle player joining me, a fellow from town named Julian Pinelli, and Julian's just like, he's such an ace. He's born, raised in West Asheville, went off to like the Berklee College of Music, lives in Nashville now, but we've done a couple shows together, and I don't know, from the start it felt like if I was going to do a duo show, it needed to be a fiddle player, and it's worked really, really well. So, you know, it's a little bit of banjo, fiddle, a lot of guitar. I started bringing in some electric guitar and stuff like that, and you know, there's like a bunch of songs I've actually written since the record that are in the show. So there's even songs that are newer than that. A couple Steep Canyon Rangers songs, you know, here and there when they fit. But it's such a joy because, you know, usually with the band shows, the way they flow, you know, it's not really set up to like talk to the audience about like maybe where the song came from or just like a little bit of background. But I feel like in this show can really give like a full, you know, I don't want to tell anybody what the song's about, but just let the audience connect to the music a little bit more, you know, just in a really close way with the lyrics, which is important for this music. You know, it's not like the songs that are going to have people swinging from the rafters. But I think like on the good nights when I'm playing these shows and I look out, I can feel like everybody in the audience is just kind of laser focused on the words and stuff like that. And that's a great feeling. And it's honestly a feeling I've never had on stage before. It's wonderful.
Wow, that's a treat to be able to experience something new after the experience and all the years you've been performing.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like on the good nights, like it's almost like a superpower when like the room is like that focused on you, because one, you're like, maybe you started out the show nervous and missed chords like for the first 3 songs, and then you settle into it, and then there's nights when you can like almost do no wrong and actually do better than you maybe thought you could, just because you have everybody there like kind of feeding into it and really feeling the energy from the room. It's a wonderful feeling. So that's what we're going to be doing here.
Yeah. Well, I know we're looking forward to it, and it's always so great to have you here. So I'm so excited about your new record. I'm so excited that you're doing these solo shows to support it, as well as getting back out there with Steve Canyon Radio.
Yeah.
You got a lovely show here with Woody, a wonderful duo show.
So
and I'm still just feeling the tingles from all of that. So
yeah,
I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for taking the time to come hang out with us here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for like everything you've done. Like that duo show that Woody and I played. I mean, it did both of us so much good. And when you talk about like, you know, having confidence in yourself and like what you can do, and confidence with the people around you, like getting up on that stage. I mean, that was one of those nights when, like I say, you're doing better than you thought you could, just because like the energy that's going on, and you could feel it like all the way from load in, you know, with the crew and all the staff, like from top to bottom, all the way, you know, from the band to the audience. Like everybody was in on it here, and like that's a testament to y'all like sticking with it here and you know, giving us this stage.
Well, we appreciate that. It's the reconnection is such a powerful thing, and so it's begun, and it's feeling good so far.
Yeah, I remember when we were loading in, people were opening their windows and like screaming out the windows and honking their horns to see a band loading into the Orange Peel again.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Felt good for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Graham, thank you so much.
Yeah, brother.
Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Cool.
So good to be back here.
Yeah. Right
Down in the basement of an empty house, selling darkness is an easy pitch. Passing the torch, long burned out, hoping nobody flips the switch. Oh, cinders in my hands, cinders in my pockets, God help me, I remember the flame. Well, the warmth of the embers was gone, and I got it, but I got it just the same. It's just too far to go with a hand-me-down shoes. Generation